All four of those occasions, there's San Diego, Anaheim, Irvine, and Vegas. Which ones do you actually talk to Puffy at?
Every one.
Every one of them. Which of those four is it when you talk to him about murdering Tupac?
It was really about both of them. Either one. It was
Tupac and Suge, you mean?
Yeah.
On November 18th, 1995, Tupac was photographed with Sean Diddy Combs' baby mom, Sarah Chapman. Diddy described Sarah as being the one. Every man has a girl who is the one, and Sarah was Diddy's. But once she turned on Diddy to now date Tupac, there was a huge problem. As in the Diddy trial, it was then announced, former LAPD cop claims Diddy had Tupac dealt with for $1 million. Sugar retaliated by having Miggy dealt with us shortly after Tupac and Sarah Chapman broke off their relationship. Diddy was not happy. Diddy would then hire Keffy D to go get Tupac, as after he was walking free for 20 years, the police finally arrested him, and he did a police interrogation. Now, he didn't know he was being recorded when confessing that Diddy was the lead man of the crime. He was paid $1 million to do the crime, and he was all in a retaliation for taking his girl. On all four of those occasions, there's San Diego, Anaheim, Irvine, and Vegas. Which ones do you actually talk to Puffy at? Every one of them. Every one of them. Which of those four is it when you talk to him about murder Tupac? It was really about both. Either one of them. It was Tupac. Tupac and Shimi. As Diddy would be questioned about his involvement, the news wrote, Diddy faces questions about his alleged role in Tupac's murder after being mentioned 77 times in a new legal filing. As Keffy D was the hired hitman of the crime, he would end up snitching on Diddy, exposing him, saying everything was his wish. He even explained that it occurred so fast, all because Tupac was reaching for his firearm when he passed away. You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said the Tupac pulled out. It looked like he was reaching. Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah. Did you actually, once he got to reaching, I got to jumping? So someone from your car, that's what I started at Tupac and Suge. This would end up hitting news headlines extremely fast. Even 50 Cent would react. I hate when they leave me to talk because I always say the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? Last time I said something about I got to stop doing that. Okay. I've been talking to a therapist trying to help me with saying crazy no reason. Oh, wait. Maybe I said to my boyfriend because he got Tupac killed. But alongside the reactions, there would also be a viral clip of people that confronted Diddy for being responsible for Tupac's murder, such as this awkward Breakfast Club interview. Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true. Yeah. Check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So, we're not even going to even go there. With all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you. 'Cause you listened 7 years ago. I'd have been like, yo, did you hide my butt? But no, you do it like a journalist. Yeah, no. I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense. Which we never believed, by the way. Yeah, thank you. But when you investigate further into the police records, it shows evidence of Diddy not acting alone. In case you missed it, it was also announced the reinvestigation of Tupac murder is revealing new names and evidence of those involved. New name brought up is Suge Knight, as Eminem would react to the news saying, I'm holding Suge Knight responsible for the death of the two greatest rappers to ever grace the face of the planet. If only the late Christopher Wallace could talk, he could tell you himself as I'm holding Suge responsible for the death of Ja Rule or anyone else that was down with the row. As according to police records, it reads, Detective Russell P. suspected that Suge Knight arranged Tupac's murder before he could exit the label. He then framed the rival Crips to throw off investigators, which raises a very important question of who is a famous Cry Gang member that Suge Knight would pin to Boggs' murder on. Now, according to Mike Dorsey, Diddy is a part of the Crips. However, the most famous, __ in the entire world is Snoop Dogg. Now, his file is even more interesting when you learn that he was supposed to be in the BMW with Tupac on the night that he died. You were with Tupac, though. In regards to Tupac, I heard a story. Did you give him different advice that night on where to go? I didn't give him no advice. Right. We wasn't seeing eye to eye. Right. So saying during the Tyson this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that. Okay. So when they got to Vegas, they went their way. I went back. I mean, when we got to LA, They went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car. Isn't in the car with them. As when piecing all of this evidence together, it really starts to connect the dots. Snoop Dogg mentions he was supposed to be in the BMW, but after a last-minute change, he just didn't go. He would explain that this was due to him, Tupac, and Suge Knight having an altercation just a day prior. The last time me and Tupac was on the same page, and I did an interview with Angie Martinez, and she asked me how did I feel about Puffy and Biggie, and I told her that I like their music, and I want to do music with them. That bro didn't like that. Tupac didn't like that. So we had a misunderstanding. So, on the ride on the flight back to LA, I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So, to protect myself, and to, prevent from happening, I slept under a blanket with the knife and the fork just in case something was to go wrong. But it didn't. Now, with all of this happening within 48 hours of Tupac's murder, it made the police very suspicious. However, one officer had an idea. He would end up exposing that Tupac was an industry plant with a job of stopping the beef between the Bloods and the Crips. And with Snoop Dogg being a part of the Crips, he may have received a tip that Tupac was either going to be targeted on that night or that he was working with the feds. Well, it turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Choki Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be in order to appeal to and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Mutula Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truce first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country, and that was why he was pretending to be this type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy. However, Snoop Dogg would end up denying these claims. He would end up revealing that he only didn't go because he felt like Tupac hated him just a day prior. I say a week before we was best of friends. 2 days before I don't think he liked me. Why? Because we was in New York. Oh yeah. And it happened New York they shot at me and did all kind of to me like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him and went and did an interview and was asked how do I feel about Puffy and Big. I was like I want to do some music with, and I just rubbed cause the wrong way like tried to me at you, and you talking about you want to do a song with them. I wasn't thinking about his emotions. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked him music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us hanging out. Now, when you connect all of that evidence I just shared with you to the official police records of Tupac's death, you really start to see the actual picture as Keffi D would explain everything. He would explain that on September 7th, 1996, Tupac was in Las Vegas with the head of his record label, Suge Knight. With the two going off to the MGM Grand to watch a Mike Tyson match when they would end up leaving, they spotted an op in the lobby of the arena where they would have a full-out brawl. Good Night and their entourage went to the Mike Tyson, the MGM Grand. KPD and his nephew Orlando Lane Anderson and 2 of their friends were also there. KPD told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago in a proffer that couldn't be used against him. There was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and up at the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded that Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino quickly. Now, security would break up the altercation between Tupac, Suge, and the ops. However, it resulted in Tupac and Suge needing to go back to their hotel to change their clothing. But around 11 p.m., the two would begin driving to the club where they would start driving down the Las Vegas Strip. Being stopped at a red light, an opposing vehicle filled with rival gang members would pull up alongside Tupac and do the crime. Knew about Tupac's concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keith D., jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the thigh. Now, I want you to understand how crazy this is. The Tupac murder case was cold for 2 decades until suddenly a man by the name of KD would do a show with DJ Vlad. During the interview, he literally detailed the moments of finding Tupac, pulling up on him.